You ever have something you just couldn't let go of? Like, no matter how much you decluttered, no matter how much you decided to start fresh, there's always that one thing you just can't get rid of. Maybe it's an old photo. Maybe it's a hoodie you've had since high school. Maybe it's something small, but it means the world to you. Well, for Pete Davidson, that one thing is a tattoo. Now, that might sound a little surprising because he's been on this massive tattoo removal journey. Like, we're talking next level, Hollywood-size commitment. This isn't just getting rid of one or two pieces of ink. Nope. He's going almost all in, erasing most of the tattoos he's ever gotten. And considering he used to have over 100 tattoos, that's a pretty big deal. But here's the twist, and the part that makes this story so much more personal. Amid spending more than $200,000 on laser removal, Pete's keeping just one tattoo. Just one. And the reason why? Honestly, it's touching. It's one of those moments that reminds you that even celebrities, especially celebrities, have things they hold onto because they're tied to something much deeper than style or trends. So let's go back a little. Pete Davidson, for those who somehow missed the internet headlines over the last decade, is that tall, lanky comedian who first rose to fame on Saturday Night Live. He became one of the youngest cast members in SNL history, and since then, he's built a career that's part stand-up comedy, part acting, part constantly making headlines for dating famous people. And if you've seen him in photos or interviews over the years, you've probably noticed something: the tattoos. Pete was covered in them. Arms, chest, back, legs, he was basically a walking, talking canvas. And these weren't just a few carefully planned pieces either. Pete's tattoos were a mix of personal tributes, pop culture references, random quotes, and, in his own words, some bad ideas that happened in moments of spontaneity. You could almost read his life like a diary through his tattoos. The problem is, not every diary entry is one you want to keep forever. Over time, Pete started to realize that all this ink was actually getting in the way, especially when it came to his acting career. Every time he landed a movie role, he'd have to sit for hours in a makeup chair just to cover the tattoos. And we're not talking 30 minutes. We're talking hours. Imagine doing that every single day on set. Not exactly fun. And that's when Pete decided, maybe it's time to start fresh. Maybe it's time to remove them. And here's where it gets wild: tattoo removal isn't cheap. It's not quick. And it's definitely not painless. We're talking hundreds of dollars per session. And for Pete? This is a huge project. He's already spent over $200,000 getting rid of them. Yeah. That's basically the cost of a pretty nice house. Or a few luxury cars. Or, if you're Pete, probably a lifetime supply of Staten Island pizza. Now, here's the thing about tattoo removal: it's not as simple as, zap it and it's gone. It can take dozens of sessions for just one tattoo, depending on the size and the ink colors. Black ink is easier to remove than colors like green or blue. And if the tattoo is old and faded, sometimes that's a little easier, but other times, it's still stubborn. And yes, it hurts. People say it's like having hot rubber bands snapped against your skin over and over. Not exactly something you'd do for fun. But Pete's been doing it anyway. Slowly, session by session, he's been erasing most of the ink he's collected over the years. Except for one. Just one tattoo is staying. And this is where the story shifts from celebrity makeover to something much more heartfelt. The tattoo Pete's keeping isn't his biggest. It's not the flashiest. It's not some expensive, intricate piece of art. It's actually pretty simple. But it's also the one that means the most to him. It's a tribute to his late father, Scott Davidson, who was a firefighter and lost his life in the 9/11 attacks. Pete has spoken openly over the years about how losing his dad shaped him, not just as a person, but as a comedian, as an actor, and even as someone who uses humor to cope with pain. That tattoo is more than just ink on skin. It's a piece of his heart. It's a way of carrying his dad with him every single day. And that's something you don't erase, no matter how much you want a clean slate. You can get rid of bad decisions. You can get rid of things that don't feel like you anymore. But you don't erase the things that shaped who you are. And honestly, I think that's what makes this story so relatable. Because we've all had moments where we wanted to start over. Maybe we've cleared out our closet. Deleted old photos. Moved to a new city. Changed our hair. Whatever it was, there's always that one thing we hold on to because it's a part of our story. Now, if you're thinking about tattoos, there's something you should know: removal is no joke. It's expensive, it's slow, and it's not always perfect. Even after all those sessions, sometimes you can still see a faint shadow of the tattoo. So if you're considering getting one, it's worth asking yourself, will I still want this when I'm older? Or in a different stage of life? And I'm not saying don't get tattoos. Tattoos can be beautiful, meaningful, and totally worth it. But make sure you're getting something that matters to you. Something that tells a story you'll always want to tell. Something like Pete's tribute to his dad, instead of, I don't know, the cartoon character your friend dared you to get at 2 in the morning. Pete's not the only celebrity to go through this process, by the way. A lot of stars have had tattoos removed. Megan Fox, for example, used to have a portrait of Marilyn Monroe on her arm. She had it removed because she felt like the image carried negative energy. Angelina Jolie famously had her Billy Bob tattoo removed after her divorce from Billy Bob Thornton. Mark Wahlberg? Same thing, had multiple tattoos removed for both career reasons and personal growth. So yeah, Pete's in good company. But what makes Pete's case stand out is the sheer scale of it. Over 100 tattoos. More than $200,000 spent. And yet, in all of that, it comes down to one piece of ink that will stay forever. Not because it's trendy. Not because it's cool. But because it's a memory he refuses to let fade. And that's kind of the lesson here. You can change your style. You can grow out of certain things. You can even spend a small fortune erasing what no longer fits who you are. But the things that matter? The things tied to love, to loss, to family, to who you are at your core? Those stay. And they should. So let me ask you something. If you had to get rid of every single tattoo, piercing, or piece of jewelry you own, but you could keep just one, which would you keep? And why? Because I guarantee, if you really think about it, that why says a lot about who you are. And if you've enjoyed hearing about Pete's journey, you might want to check out my other stories about celebrities who've gone through big personal transformations, the kind where it's not just about how they look, but about the meaning behind the change. If you liked this story, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time, especially if you love stories that mix celebrity news with real human moments. And hey, share this video with the friend who still insists you're both getting matching tattoos next weekend. Who knows? Maybe hearing this will make them think twice. Or maybe it'll just make the tattoo even more meaningful. Because at the end of the day, tattoos, whether we keep them or remove them, are about telling our story. And for Pete Davidson, the story he's keeping is one he'll carry forever.